Hello, my name is Noah Marino Espinoza, and I'll be going over my project, Path of Remembrance, a study in precedent-informed design. First off, I want to go over what we are trying to resolve. The project is about creating a non-religious sacred space on the campus of Prairie View A&M University. This place will be used for reflection, self-healing, and remembrance, while also honoring the university's history and the legacy of the site. The building site is located on the north side of the campus, next to the old Wyatt Chapel Community Cemetery. The buildable area is 280 feet by 390 feet, which makes up the site to be roughly 2.5 acres. Now, I wanted to give a brief explanation of the site's historical past. The building site was once part of the Alta Vista Plantation. The area was used as a burial site for the slaves of Alta Vista Plantation and the neighboring Lando Plantation. In 1876, the former Alta Vista Plantation was converted to the Alta Vista College for Colored Youth, and in the modern day it has become Prairie View A&M University. The site's grim past sets a dark tone for the development of any project to take place in hollow ground. The site is situated in a wooded area, offering a serene natural atmosphere enhanced by flat terrain with gentle elevation changes and a small creek that runs through it. While the natural setting presents an ideal backdrop for the reflection and connection with nature, the site faces several challenges. It has limited access for both pedestrian and vehicles, and a noticeable slope from the road which makes entry less convenient. Initially, the area is vulnerable to natural disasters. However, the site also presents unique opportunities. It lies within a historically significant area marked and protected under state law. Its location supports diverse local fauna, enriching the environmental and educational value of the project. Despite these benefits, threats such as noise disturbances for nearby farms and residents exist. The residents the risk of also vandalism due to student proximity and the potential for overgrown vegetation due to the site's seclusionness and the possible maintenance neglect must be considered in the project design and long-term planning of it. Now moving on to the precedent portion. This building is called Breeze Hall. It was built in Shanghai, China, 2024 by Senef and Shang Shang of Shisu Design Office. This building is a sacred building that focuses on uniting the community and urban area using nature and open space. I was inspired by the material choice of this building. They use perforated metal panels that allows filtered lighting and breezes into the inside of the building. The building site also includes vegetation and fur parts of the design, so I wanted to include that into my design as well. I also like the usage of the space in this building, as there was a heavy focus on open space that allows for events, as well as an elevated space for a more private view, both are something that I want to implement into my design. Now, this is the Zaidi Tower, located in Tehran, Iran, built in 1971 by architect Hossein Amanat. This building represents the complexity, advancement, and beauty of Iranian culture. I was inspired by the striking contrast between the height of the structure and its surroundings. I applied the same principle of hierarchy in my design to create a strong central focal point in my building. The Zaidi Tower is also renowned for how light reflects across the surface. I drew inspiration from the use of texture to manipulate light in my own project. Now this building is called Capella CR. It was built in Lago Santo, Brazil in 2018 by architect Juan Diniz. The chapel serves as a building of worship by military personnel. I drew inspiration from its unique form and its regular shape, allowing natural light to pass through directly from the glass windows into the interior. I also incorporated similar material choice into my own design. I appreciate how the glass walls provides clear views from the exterior from the near every part of the building. I want to replicate the experience into my design. The primary structural material choice for this building is concrete. I also chose concrete, but opted for white concrete to create a contrast against the natural wooded area surroundings. Additionally, the white surface of the concrete creates light reflection, contributing to the building's natural energy efficiency. Now, the structure is called Written Water. It was constructed in 2018 in Runnymede, England by Mark Wallinger in partnership with Studio Topping. At its heart is a central circular chamber with an oculus, where a pool of water reflects the sky above. I drew significant inspiration from the structure when designing my monument. I also incorporated an oculus positioned above water in my design. The oculus source is a main source of lighting for the building. Additionally, I designed the interior chambers walls to be shorter than exterior walls, and I also made an opening that's taller than the interior chamber. This so that there will be an overhead lighting that goes throughout the whole side of the building. Now here's my project. The concept I went with was triumph over oppression. The concept statement being a space that empowers, liberates, and celebrates resilience. Here we have my site iterations with mass models. One of the most obvious differences between my initial iterations and my final one will be the placement of water. Initially, I wanted to have surrounding my building with water as acting as moat, but I changed that in favor for a more scenic view of the reflected pool in the back of my building. Another thing you may notice will be change in the pathway. In my initial iterations, I wanted to have a serpentine pathway, but I chose to have a smaller one with my final iteration as to not take up valuable building area. Here are the concept sketches that help me plan my finalized building forms and floor plan layout. On the left, here we have my sacred and monument building form. On the middle, we have my monument floor plan and roof plan on top. And on the right, we have my sacred and my roof floor plan. Here we have the floor plan for my first floor. One thing they may note is the amount of open space in the building. I want there to be enough space for visitors to roam and explore the building. On the left, we have my public sacred area. On the right here is an art gallery for visitors to explore. And back here, it's a little more private area if they want visitors to be more private experience. Now I want to focus on the monument portion of my site. It consists of a two-part monument beginning with a pathway into the site that connects a small structure featuring a central reflective water well. The path is called Path of Remembrance. It's a winding path that begins 10 feet wide and gradually narrows to become 4 feet wide by the time you reach into the second monument. Walking the path symbolizes the journey into the past. The further you progress, the more confined and restricted the space becomes, reflecting the experience of oppression. Along the path, I planted hydrangeas plants as a natural barrier. Individually, the flower represents innocence. Collectively, they evoke the fields of Elysium for Greek mythology, a resting place for the virtuous after this. During my site analysis, I noticed that some of the headstones in the cemetery belong to soldiers who fought in the world wars, further deepening the past symbolic meaning with the connection between the plants and the fields of Elysium. The second monument, titled Wellspring of Change, is an echo chamber-like structure with minimal lighting and an oculus in the roof that allows both lighting and rainfall to enter. And the roof is sloped at a point so that all the water collectively falls into the center of it, which feeds directly into the small reflective well in the center of the space. Here we have the second floor, which is an exterior roof garden. Part of the garden is covered by extrusion of concrete from the main building. The other part is covered by a perforated roof pergola paneling, which allows for filter lighting to pass through it. Behind the roof garden, we have the water body, and across the water body, we have the grave sites that are viewable from the back portion of the roof garden. Here we have the north-facing section cut. As you can see, the exterior roof garden has an overview view into the main section of the sacred site. Here we have the west-facing section cut. You can see there's a wall section detail with all the material types. And over here you can also see on the bottom right, there's a covered patio that sees right next to the reflecting water body. Here's the south elevation. As you can see here, there's a stained glass moon gate. And here's my monument right here in the bottom. I have an irregular roof right here that is sloped towards the center for the oculus to get water from. Here's the north elevation. Down here we have the covered patio that looks directly into the water reflection pond. And up here we have the perforated paneled pergola that provides filter lighting to the roof garden. Here we have the east elevation. It provides a good site profile of the building. Over here is the window to the private sacred space. They're each separate rooms and allows you to have each private area for individuals. Here's the exploded 3D view of the building. The main building is 8,228 square feet, while the roof garden is 4,923 square feet. Here we have the exterior perspective of the roof garden. You may see that there's a change in flooring materials right here. This may just due because of the change between the covered concrete roof extension and the shaded system right here, but the perforated panels. Here's the interior perspective of the wellspring change. One thing that you notice directly is the material choice for this building. I chose brick as an homage to Prairie View A&M University, as most of the buildings here are made out of brick. Here's the interior perspective of the sacred group area. We have an elevated platform for the speaker to address the visitors, and also a grand wall of glass panelings. This lets in natural lighting, as well as the space of the area with high ceilings allows for the echoing of the speaker's words. Here we have a covered patio. It sits right on the water body, and it overlooks some graves in the background. I saw this because I saw this during my site analysis, and I wanted to incorporate it as a view into my design. Here is an exterior perspective of the rear of the building. It lets you visualize the covered patio more on the water body, as well as visualize the perforated paneling in the roof garden. Here we have the art gallery. Some of the selected works are mainly from the civil rights movement, or just art pieces that invoke the true essence of the Black community and Black culture. Thank you for your time. This will conclude my presentation now.